Welcome.
Are you ready to thrive?
Of course you are. Life is all about thriving forward and doing things your way. Hello and welcome to the Sussex Way Podcast. My name is Veena V and I help business owners. I can't even speak. I'm so blimmin' excited. I help business owners launch their very own YouTube channel and get customers and get confident on camera. That's what I love to do. I'm all about getting people visible. I'm also a single mum to a extremely hyperactive, amazing, lovely child, and I love tea, cake, and long walks in the countryside. Every time I say that, it does really sound like I'm filling in a bit of a dating profile here, doesn't it? Today, oh my goodness me, you are going to love this. We have got a lady called Colette Machado. She is a PR expert, and we are going to be talking today about Meghan and Harry, their PR strategy moving forward. This is going to be a good one. Please welcome to the show, Colette.
Hey, Veena. Hi.
Woo! Thank you so much, Colette.
How are you doing?
You are our PR expert. We always come to you in these times of need when we need some clarity on PR. So today's actually going to be a really great episode because not only are we going to talk about Meghan and Harry's PR strategy, because obviously this podcast has been inspired by what is going on in the royal family and with Meghan and Harry, but Colette's also going to give you some tips. If you've got a small business, if you've got a brand that you want to launch very soon, how can we as individual, normal, everyday people kind of PR ourselves as well? So Colette, thank you for coming on the show. You've worked with a lot of clients in the past and present as well. And from your point of view as a PR expert, I don't know, do you feel Meghan and Harry could be doing things a little bit better in terms of their actual PR strategy?
Sure. Yes, absolutely. So when Meghan joined the royal family, it was that everybody would assume that she's going to be getting some, highlighted by the press and, potentially in a negative way. I mean, obviously the press is all about putting out stories for the public. And, we know that, even if whether it's celebrities or general people, the media doesn't always promote people in a positive light. I've worked at the BBC for about, say, 10 years in the past. And, I myself know that it's not all about, positive press, of course. So there was no question whether she was going to get some stick in different ways. But what's happening now, because of the decisions they're making and because of what she decided to do, her and Harry, which is, of course, remove themselves from royal duties and leave the UK, then she, in my opinion, both of them need to put themselves, in the best light they possibly can. So are they doing that? I don't think so. Why? So, I mean, when Meghan first joined the royal family, there was, we saw a lot of different pictures of her and articles in the press whereby she was sort of laughing, chatting with the Queen and with Kate Middleton and so forth. And I think that what they could do, which they don't seem to be doing, is really talk about the positive things that have happened since she joined the royal family. Unfortunately, they are being taken over by the negative things. Which I think what the public want to hear, because that's what it's about, and that's my focus. It's about, what do the public want to hear? The public want to hear, okay, well, the British are warm. The Queen gave them gave her a welcome reception, things like that. Now, as I said, if they are they're looking at it like, well, okay, this is not happening now. What's happening now? They're being trolled and so on. That's true. But they have to remember that it's all about how they put themselves forward, and just some kind of nice words, just letting people know that, okay, well, we're leaving Canada, we're leaving the UK for XXX reasons, but still putting themselves forward in a positive way would be really good.
Do you know what? Hearing your perspective is just so interesting, because we are all as humans fueled by emotion, aren't we? From our own experiences, our own beliefs, our own judgments, and if you take away that emotion and you're now we're talking about this from purely a PR stance, it's like we do forget that there was actually so much positive press. I mean, I think in the episode before this, number 9, we had a lady come on and I was even talking to her about, we all need to remember that there was so much positive press around the wedding. We were all like, our Meghan. And it's fascinating that what is going on now, it does kind of all come down to PR, because what has frustrated me, and it's another reason why I started this podcast, is that a lot of people are now looking at us British people thinking like we're all really racist, or we are all really hostile, and it's not the case, is it? Like everything was fine. Like up until whenever it was.
Exactly. It's definitely not the case. Unfortunately, because of the number of stories and negative stories that are being put out in the media about Meghan and Harry, in particular about Meghan, that's what's really, how to put it, their decision to go to Canada, is very much, of course, as we know, linked to these things. I don't know if you've seen this week, just in the Huffington Post, there was an article that's come out, and I think it was the University of Sunderland, that's right, they've done an analysis of the media past week, and they've identified more than 400 negative comments made about Meghan. It's sexist and racist comments, things such as Meghan the Queen of Monkey Island. They've called Archie a chimp. There's numerous, and so having watched and listened to and watched a few of the videos over the last week or so, there are, unfortunately, I have to say, there are a lot of extremely negative, extremely racist comments. And when you look at that article, so the documentary that she did, they both did with ITV, where she talks about struggling since she's joined the royal family, and you can tell with both her and Harry, what they're doing this for, this going to Canada, is not just because they want to, I think, remove themselves, completely from the royals, but it's actually for their own mental health.
Yeah.
The fact that they are human beings, they want to live a life. Some people will say, well, sorry, Meghan, you knew what you were signing yourself up to. We've all heard that, a lot of people would have heard that her British friends said to her, don't marry Harry, you're going to literally be trashed through the media. And I read, I watched an interview in which she sort of said she expected things to happen, she expected negativity, but she never expected the volume that she's been getting. So, I think life thing, Veena, we're going to get different thoughts and debates and comments. Should they be going? Should they not be going? Is she the one that's forcing him to go? Is she the one that's, in Piers Morgan's words, ripping him away from his family? Some of that is, if I'm to be honest with you, my opinion, is that some of it's actually unfair to her, because I also watched a documentary in which he said that and it was not just like as in reported said, he actually literally said, I heard, he's actually the one being interviewed. He said that there is no way that he's letting his family go through what his mother went through, and for those reasons he needs to do what he needs to do for his family. That's his own words.
And I think, again, people are forgetting, like, he's a dad. When you become a parent, and we both know, we're both both mums.
Yeah.
You want to protect so I don't know what overcomes us. Like, people can say stuff to me and I'm like, oh, whatever, it doesn't really affect me. If anyone says anything about my child, I am literally like, it's like, you've got this. We are so protective over our children. That's what happens when you become a parent. So again, nobody's talking about that aspect. And again, like you've mentioned it, the mental health, like no one, again, they are new parents. When people have a child, whether it's the man or the woman, depression can affect one of you, or it can actually affect both of you.
Absolutely.
Again, which should be talked about. And kind of going back, to this, the PR side of it. What happens when a lot of negative stories come out? So I'm not just talking about Meghan and Harry here, just any celebrities. I mean, do these people, Meghan and Harry, celebrities, influencers, do they have big PR teams around them? Is it just one person? I mean, how does that work?
So I've seen and heard it is different for, it could be different from one celebrity to another. A lot of times they will have one focused person that is like pretty much their publicist, who it's their job to put that person out in the best light possible. Now, some of them, depending on what they need, on their needs, and depending on who they are, they may well have a PR team. So it can vary. I know, like in Meghan and Harry's case, they do have a PR team actually, and unfortunately I was reading something in which the PR team spilled the beans on them, so which is kind of slightly, it's not great, because obviously they're employing that PR team to put themselves in the best light forward and to handle their their visibility in the media, and the PR team seems like, in my opinion, kind of gone against them a little bit. But then of course, they may well have been paid. I'm assuming here may not be the case. They may well have been paid a lot of money by a particular tabloid or so to do that.
Do you know what? Doing this podcast, I'm finding out all these things. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So when like a high-profile person has a PR team, so these teams aren't necessarily employed by that person as an individual. It's actually maybe an external company that's coming in and doing the PR for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I can't remember, it's called Sunshine something, or there's a particular I've definitely seen the PR team or the PR company that's there for Meghan and Harry. Yeah. So it's somebody on the outside, and
you
they
can't
do
trust
need
anyone, can you?
Exactly, and that's why it surprises me with Meghan and Harry that they're not being. They need something to mitigate all what's happening and to address it, because without a doubt, I mean, even if they do, well, I say if or when, but so when they go to Canada, without a doubt, they're going to get criticised in the media. They're being criticised left, right, and centre right now for their move. They're still going to get criticised in the media when they're in Canada by the British media. Will get criticised by the media in Canada. I'm sure it's not going to be a bed of roses completely, but that's why I'm surprised that their PR team is not doing more for them to actually, really sort of put their best foot forward. And return to that phrase, because PR is not about. It's not. You could be the most unfriendliest, most horrible business coach, for example, in real life. So, to your clients or to people that know you, like, you could even be a bit ruthless or so on. But you see, if a business coach either has their own PR person or does their own themselves, both of which of course can be done, then they're not going to put that side of themselves forward. Why would they? They're not going to do anything that makes them look like they've got a horrible personality or makes them look like they're ruthless to their clients. Not going to do that, because they have to maintain their credibility. They want to get clients, etc., etc. So when we as businesses put ourselves forward, it's about the image, the reputation. It's about how people are seeing you. So you want to present the best yourself in the best light possible, and that's both in your words and in your pictures and everything about you. And that's why with social media and the internet now, we've got many more opportunities to promote ourselves in the best way possible. However, if you don't take notice of that, if you don't acknowledge that, you can say, I've got another way I can promote my business. You just go onto social media, tap out some few words. If you've got typos in there, if you've got just things that just it doesn't look professional, then or your picture doesn't look great because you've decided to put up a very much like a small picture of you, maybe at a garden party, at the weekend, and you thought, oh, I like that picture. You've put it up there, but is it showing you in the best way, in the best light? Possibly not. So it's all about PR. It's about the media. It's about visibility. It's about promoting yourself, but it's also about your image and the reputation and how you are portraying yourself to people that look at you and look at your content.
That is so true. And we've got so many points to think about there. So if we are, a business owner, or maybe someone's listening and they want to start a business in the future, what is the kind of, I don't know, maybe the best way to get started to kind of PR yourself out there? That's even a phrase. Obviously for Meghan and Harry, it's going to be different for them. They're not going to... They probably won't sit down do their own PR strategy. Like you said, they maybe get another team now, or maybe I really think Meghan and Harry, they need to follow that celebrity model where they've just got a manager. They've got a manager that is handling, who's really close to them in some sense, that they can. Hang on. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not going to edit that out because my microphone just slipped. Do you know what? I had to literally take my computer upstairs. I'm sitting in the floor of my son's room right now because someone decided to saw something outside my house. So I thought I'd add that little story.
Wonderful.
So I was saying about with Meghan and Harry. So yeah, I feel that they need some kind of maybe manager now. Do you feel they just need somebody that is just close to them, that just gets them where they want to go forward?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that helps them. Definitely, it will help their reputation. It will help people know that, okay, so Harry, you're leaving the UK, and and to be fair, I mean, whether I agree or disagree with their decision is irrelevant. But okay, so he has said that he's going to be spending his time between the UK and Canada. But you see, even though he said that, that's not actually made people think, oh, okay, that's not bad. Then you'll be here half the time, and half time in the UK, half time in Canada. In fact, what has come from that, people are saying, well, okay, so you think you can just come back when you like. So what they need is somebody to actually sort of even put up some comments that say, okay, well, yes, they're going, but this is why they're making the decision. Okay, because it is a fact. She has been criticised in the media very heavily. That's not a secret. Whether it's racist or sexist comments or whatever, that's definitely true. Of course, there's some people that are denying. Piers Morgan is saying that he's not aware of the racism, and other people as well. But that is the truth. But so somebody who can really, really, as I said again, put their foot forward and say, okay, well, this is what they're doing. This is why they're doing it. Okay, this is what's going to be happening as a result. And it doesn't mean that the British are going to say, okay, that's great, we're now happy. But what it does do, it still preserves them, and it still puts them, as I said, in a better light than they are currently being shown in. And just to share, I did read an article. It was a BuzzFeed article. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I read it, and I just wrote down a quote that the writer did. It was a fantastic article, and what she said was that Harry and Meghan's decision to give up senior royal life and spend time outside of the UK is not a symbol of defeat. It's an act of self-respect and self-preservation. And I thought it was very powerful, because to me, what she's saying there, is that if you look at when Harry did his interview with ITV, he says he currently still struggles with mental illness. Yeah. It also said that every time if there's a camera being flashed in front of him, the paparazzi or whatever, this is, so he's kind of being caught off guard. Cameras in front of him. He said it reminds him of his mother. Okay, so they also they are royals, but they are human beings. And for me, again, perhaps I don't need to give my opinion, but for me, that comes first. They've got to, they've got a baby. They need to, they need to go through life as people first and foremost, and then royals to me as is secondary to that. When the Queen gave them their not say go ahead, but it said okay, she'll do what she can do for them, etc. But then she still said she wants them. She would prefer if they remained royals, but she had to decide whether she's going to act as the Queen or grandmother or both. And I think what she did, she went down the road of both, because her statement said, I will do what I can't remember exactly what it said, but it's something like she will do what she needs to do, them, or she respects their opinions, or something like that. Okay, something in their favour. But then another thing was that yes, I'd prefer that they would have done this. So,
and what really got me about that statement is what you said as well about we're all humans at the end of the day. She actually said in the statement, and I don't think she's ever released a statement like that before, where she is referring to Harry as her grandchild, and she's referring to her family actually as her family. And I thought, I was like, first and foremost, I know they're this firm, that they're a business, they're whatever you want to call it, but they are a family at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And the point you brought up about them being humans, like we're all humans. And I think it was episode, I can't remember the numbers now, I think episode 8, we had an actress come on this podcast, so make sure you guys go and listen back to that. Holly Matthews came on this show, and we were talking about, she was saying she experienced a little bit of what Meghan and Harry was going through, because she got so much press about what was happening to her and her family, and she just thought she was saying that it really affects your mental health, because you can't get away from it. Imagine us as normal everyday people, we're going through the stuff we need to go through, but then imagine that on a scale
Yes.
where hundreds of thousands, even millions of people
Yes.
are talking about you. And, you know, we were talking about this aspect of what you just said, Colette. We're all human. We are all on the same level. Just because someone is a celebrity, it doesn't mean they don't have the same emotions as
That's
everyone.
right.
Any of us. Colette, you could go on Love Island tomorrow and then you'll be a celebrity.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But it's true, like any of us. Colette's like, oh, Colette's thinking I'm married. What are you talking about?
You got me thinking.
But it is
Maybe a few sessions in the gym first. maybe a year in the gym.
God, I need to do this. But if, you know, I always say this to people, you know, sometimes people I know, they get really obsessed about celebrities. I'm like, hold on. I went, you know, I'm your friend, yeah? I went, I could go on a TV show tomorrow and then I'd be classed as a celebrity, but I would still be exactly the same. All of us are the same. It just, you know, we're all on the same level, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And just one other point to make, Veena, because if you think about it, when Princess Diana, you know, before she died, it was the papers and the paparazzi. Now you have the paper for the royals. They'll have the papers, paparazzi, and the internet and social media. So the amount of negativity can probably have doubled or tripled, because now, you know, anyone can go onto the internet and kind of spout out these vile comments, and then literally not be held accountable for it. And that's exactly what's happened. So, you know, I'm reading things such as Meghan the Queen of Monkey Island, and I think there's a few other ones I saw. Some really, really, you know, not. I mean, there's obviously trailer trash or things like that. It's all just really, really negative things. I mean, you know, that's what she's probably not reading them, but, you know, these are the things that are being spouted out about them. So, yes, it's literally, so, I mean, and that's really one of the things that I think has kind of caused them to really, maybe take the decision that they've taken.
No, do you know, this has been such an interesting talk. And, you know, I want to kind of finish on the aspect of, if again people are listening to this and they're like, you know, I need, this sounds all interesting, this PR this PR stuff, because you know, there are a lot of small business owners out there, and you know, there's a lot of, you don't have to be a business owner in the traditional sense. Anyone can literally start a business from their house right now after you finish listening to this podcast episode. There's so many tools for us to do that, but the key is to get visible, isn't it? So if we're going to start on this journey of kind, you know, marketing ourselves, getting into the press, what is your advice to do that? Is there anything we should be careful about in doing, or what would you say? I loved what you were saying before in terms of, you know, when you're putting a picture out there, it might be a lovely picture, but just think about what image is that portraying. What else would you say about that as well?
Okay, all right. How long have we got?
Colette, for you all day, Colette.
Okay, I think the easiest way for me to do it is kind of maybe give 3 points, 3 things that I think would be good for people to think about. And the first one is to think about and to really kind of get clear on who you are in relation to business that you're putting across. So, for example, let's say if you are a nutritionist or a weight loss coach, what's your specialism in that particular area? So do you, for example, are you focusing on weight loss through eating eating proteins and less carbs? Obviously, you know, we all know about the keto diet, or we know, have heard about that. Is it through building up is it through walking, through running? You know, what's your sort of focus? So, you know, it might be, for example, that you're somebody who is you're a speaking coach. You may focus on a particular area. It might be the kind of the tone or the delivery. It's all about looking at who you are and what you do, looking at your niche, because we all, you know, we might do something that's kind of that sounds general, but for each person there's a particular focus that they have. So it's about getting clear on that, getting clear on who you are, what you and what you do. Which is the second bit. The second bit is, what do you do? So that's sort of point number 2. What do you do? What do you do for your clients? Okay, so, you know, you might have the subject. So I could say I do PR. Now, no, probably if I say that to somebody, 9 times out of 10, maybe a bit less than that, maybe 7 times out of people are going to understand it.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's some people who don't actually understand what PR is. And, you know, PR covers a lot of different things: sponsorship, you know, reputation, image, the media, you know, putting out yourself out there. But then I can kind of break that down to say, well, what I do is I help my clients get the media. And I will then go on to even clarify what I mean by the media, because I've done workshops before, and I've got through the whole workshop, and I've talked about the word media, and I've done different, you know, shared different slides. And then somebody said to me, oh, that was fantastic. I just want a quick clarification. When you say media, what exactly do you mean? And now that's fine, because the media, you know, when you watch BBC News or you read the papers, to you that's the media. But for me, I make it clear sometimes when I pitch, you know, when I do it online or so on, I will say, for me, the media means there's offline media and there's online media. I talk about getting into newspapers and magazines, but also blogs and online sites. So getting clear, that's point number 2 on what do you, so the first one was who you are, who are you, as you know, getting that very, very clear. And the second one is, what do you do? Yeah. Okay,
And I
clear
think
on that.
what you've said so far, they're just great points, regardless if someone's going to go on this PR journey themselves or not yet. Just in terms of getting clear with who we are as a person. And if we do have a business, what does our business represent? Who are we trying to target? What is it exactly that we do? Because I'm sure you've experienced this before, Colette. Sometimes when you talk to small business owners, they say what they do, but then maybe if you push them a bit more, they're like, oh yeah, what is it that we actually do? So it sounds simple, but it's such a great point.
Absolutely. And then the third one is who for. So, you know, let's take, for example, a parenting coach. I tend to use this example a lot, but it's like, you know, so are you a parenting coach for mums of toddlers, or is it for mums of primary school children upwards? You know, if, for example, you are you might call yourself just a parenting expert, you know, it might be that you do something in relation to mothers and babies. So the target audience for you, who is that? It can't be everybody. You know, a lot of us will go into business and we say, oh, everyone's my target audience. Well, no, it can't, because that means that your marketing, every time you market yourself, your messaging, which I'll come to in a moment, will actually be almost like kind of, it'll be aimed at everybody, but nobody will actually take it up because they don't know if you're speaking to them. So who you do what you do for is very important, because in relation, although I've said 3 points, so that is the third point, who for, but I will add in a few other things to make it, you know, a bit more to kind of give some value here. But in terms of who for, you need to know that, because when you're reaching out to the media, you need to know, for example, are you reaching out to Mother and Baby magazine, or are you reaching out to a magazine called Junior, which is aimed at mothers of, as well, say mothers or mothers and fathers of children who are primary school upwards. So it's very important. So as to what's the reason behind the clarity that you need before you even think about pitching to the media, it is that, because who you reach out to and who's going to say yes to you is all linked to you being clear about who you are. Yeah, so who you are, what you do, and who for. Yeah, so those are the 3 tips I'd say. Just in maybe you can call it a bonus one, but this one's also very important.
Oh, we like a bit of a bonus, Colette. We love our bonuses.
I could give you 10 bonuses. I could give you 3 points, 10 bonuses. It's just because I just want to kind of give the clarity of what I'm saying, just that people can kind of match it up to, because you know, we all know about, you know, when you say who you are, so who you are, what you do, and who, you know, a lot of maybe a lot of the listeners will have heard about the elevator pitch. You know, they know when they go networking, they're being asked to do their one-liner. So it's not just PR related, of course. It's necessary for your business as a whole. So that I can kind of link it to PR. Just the additional point I was saying, just one more, is about the messaging. So because all this is tied to what message are you putting out there. Because if a journalist, let's say a journalist comes across your website, and or somebody, they said they're looking for, I don't know, a woman over the age of 50 who a business owner who set up a business at the age of 50 or something like that. They go to your website and they think, oh, you know, somebody's recommended you to them. They go to your website and they're just not clear on what you do. In literally a second, they can just literally switch off. because they can't get who you are. They can't get what you're saying you do. The messaging is wrong and things like that. So just kind of having some key messages as part of your PR strategy is also very, very important.
I think that is so important, because so many of us are we have multi passions, and we can do so many different things. Like I can do, YouTube, podcast, talk about X, Y, and Z. But when someone comes to my website, you don't want to overwhelm them with a massive list of all the stuff. You just want to be specific, don't you? So I always tend to talk a lot about YouTube, so people instantly know, okay, YouTube. If they want to dig deeper, they realize that there's a lot more other things I can talk about. So I think all those tips you've just given are gold, Colette. I think everyone can really get a grip and actually do that exercise after they finish listening today. Just really sit down with themselves and figure out who are they? What is their business? What are they, trying to sell? What image are they trying to portray? I think these are all really relevant as well.
Thank you so much. And funny enough, in my Facebook group, that's exactly what we're doing today, because I did a live at the beginning of the week talking about the importance of being clear on those things. So what the ladies will be doing today is putting a little one-line statement as to who they are, what they do, and who for. So that's interesting.
And where can we join this group, Colette? Where do we go to join your PR group?
Sure.
Which is fantastic. I'm so proud of Colette, because she's doing her videos herself in there, giving out all the knowledge. So where can we go and access that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Veena. It's called More Than PR. So simply those 3 words, More Than PR. What I can do is, perhaps kind of send you the link. I mean, I know you're in it anyway. So if there's any way of kind of letting the listeners know about it, by giving a direct link, that's fine. But if not, then it's More Than PR, and they should be able to come into the group and find it. And it is aimed at female entrepreneurs, unfortunately. So any men, I'm sorry, but I have
all the men were like, no, we want to join. well, actually, men can still connect with you anyway. You've got your social media profiles, and they can go to what's your website link?
Yes, that's www.Colette, my first name, that's Colette with 1 L, 2 T's and an E at the end. Then it's my surname, which is Machado, so that's spelled M-A, so M for mother, A-C-H-A-D for Delta, O.co.uk. And just make sure you do put .co.uk, because there is a Colette Machado.
I was waiting for this speech. Colette always says this. She goes, don't go to .com, because it's another lady who we don't know.
It's another lady in Hawaii. Very high profile. She runs a...
Well, so are you, Colette. So we will just remember to go to colettemachado.co.uk.
Perfect.
That is the website you need. Colette, thank you so much for coming on.
Welcome.
You have been brilliant. Make sure you go and check Colette out. This was episode 10 of the Sussex Way podcast. If you've not remember, we don't edit this podcast, so I just keep all of this in. If you've not subscribed yet already, what are you doing? Wherever you're listening to this podcast, there should be a subscribe button there, so make sure you click it. And if you're feeling extra nice today, make sure you do write a review and leave a rating as well. And don't forget, you can download your free Thrive guide if you just want to start thriving in life and being happy. Go to veenav.com/Sussex. That's VEENAV.com/Sussex. And we will see you in the next episode, where we're going to be talking about postnatal depression and being visible at the same time. So if you're currently going through depression, but you still have to show up on camera, how do you go about doing it? And how do you get through that experience of your life? Remember to become a happiness hustler, thrive forward, and do things your way. This is the Sussex Way Podcast.
Are you ready to thrive?
Be sure to join us next time.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes.